Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Senior Master Sergeant Charline O'Neill and invocation by Jennifer Smith.
All the requirements necessary and required, and General Smith from our national headquarters has signed and approved this wonderful promotion given this day. Ladies and gentlemen, our newest chief to the Civil Air Patrol, North Central Region, and your Missouri wing. Congratulations, Chief. Now, this isn't worth a whole lot, but if you have $3, you can get a cup of coffee with it. My coin to say job well done. Our chief.
Very, very, very well-deserved promotions this morning. But I got to say something too. With all of these surprise promotions, as a very proud director of cadet programs and former spots cadet myself, I have to mention that just this week, Cadet Colonel Alexander Jones earned his spots award number 2329. Woo-hoo! And is the newest Missouri Wing Spots cadet. Now I got to brag a little bit. This brings Colonel Martin's total number of spots cadets to 7 in the last 24 months. We are quickly nearing Colonel Emmett Williams' total of 11, which was achieved in the 1990s. So this is an unprecedented time in the Missouri Wing, and It's going to happen, Colonel. All right. So please, everybody, take a look at the flyer that's laying on your table today. As a reminder, we're in COVID-19 phase 2 remobilization protocols during the conference. So take a minute to familiarize yourself with the guidelines that we're under. And we are now going to have a safety briefing by the Missouri Wing Safety Officer, Major Greg Lewis.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Major Greg Lewis. I'm the Missouri Wing Director of Safety. I'm directly responsible for implementing Colonel Martin's safety program. A little background on myself. I retired 26 years from the Army back in 2008. I went immediately into air ambulance helicopter service for AirVac Life Team, and since 2010, I've been their safety representative as well for our local region down in Arkansas. I was appointed as the Wing Safety Director of Safety back in August. I went through the first virtual National Safety Officer College, graduated from that, and I think we had a couple other members up here went through. Region Commander was there as well, and probably some other people in the room. That was back in November of 2020. This is my first Wing conference as your Director of Safety. I just want to talk briefly about instilling a safety culture in your unit. How do we do that? First of all, the regs have been rewritten. Back in 2019, they completely rewrote all of the safety regs. They're now CAP Regulation 160-1, which is your CAP safety program, and 160-2, which is safety reporting and review. Your safety officers really need to be involved in all planning, all events, from the planning phase, execution, through the after action review. And it's nothing new, but it needs to be brought to the forefront that the safety officer is just as much part of the planning as the activity director. Safety and risk management must be part of every plan, whether it's a one-day event or a National Cadet Special Activity or a weekend bivouac. If you have questions as a safety officer, as a unit commander, contact me. I'm going to be roaming around today. I'll probably be in here most of the day. Get a hold of me. I will talk to you. I have a plan for progressing your safety officers in their track and educating them. One of the new requirements in 160-1 is Activity Safety Officer course. It's available in Access. It's required for all NCSAs, encampments, anything lasts more than 48 hours or encompasses 2 nights. It's required that one person be qualified in this, and it should be the safety officer for that event. I recommend all seniors take this course. It's great. It's a one over the world, 20 slides, 30 minutes, and it will teach you everything you need to know about safety reporting. And there's always one mishap in every event, whether it's a small, cut or everything up to a heat injury. This will walk you through it. You go back into it and look at it. I do about every 2 months, and it will walk you through the process. If you have questions, contact me. I may not know all the answers, but I know the people that do. And you do have to recert on this every 2 years. So I've got a couple of goals, a little hard to see in green, as your Director of Safety. The first one, I'm going to create a safety database. There's a CAP Form 160. It's new. It's the Deliberate Risk Assessment Worksheet. I'm going to create a database for this wing, and it'll be available to other wings if they need it. And it's going to create these worksheets for every event we have, whether it's an encampment, an ASA, a one-day event. And you as a safety officer, commander, can go in and look at this, and most of the work's already been done for you. So that's my job, is create this database so you can go in and look at a 2-day SARX and see everything that we've already looked at and assess those risks, and you can build on that. You can modify it to suit your situation. We need to work smarter, not harder. I also want to reduce mishap, incident, and accident rates. We're going to do that by teaching CAP members, all CAP members, cadets, senior members, to apply sound risk management techniques. Like I said, I'll be available in and around. I'll probably be dropping into each of the briefings today. Get with me and I'll show you the plan. I've got a list of all the squadrons, your safety officers, and I can tell you what I want to do, and then you can tell me if it's going to work or if it's not going to. Hill Street Blues, I'm dating myself, not with many people in here. Let's be careful out there.
Thank you, Major Lewis. And at this time, the newly appointed and promoted Missouri Wing Command Chief Master Sergeant Charline O'Neill has a few words.
Oh, I forgot my notes.
You're more than welcome, Chief.
My notes. Really, it's not all notes. I just told John I was going to mess with you all.
It worked.
Good morning. Thank you, Colonel Martin and Wing staff, for the trust and faith you have in me by selecting me as the Wing Command NCO. As the senior NCO Corps leader of the Wing, I will be working with the Wing Commander and the rest of the Wing staff to promote the professional development of all NCOs in the Wing. My first goal is to document every NCO in the Wing. I will then track professional development and training to ensure promotions stay on track. I am currently on the National NCO Guide Working Group. The group is working diligently to develop an up-to-date pamphlet to assist all NCOs, from those who are interested in joining Civil Air Patrol to the most seasoned NCO. I look forward to personally speaking to each and every NCO by December 31st of 2021. If in the meantime you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me by emailing me at charlene.o'neill@mowgcap.org. Again, thank you. NCOs lead the way.
I agree.
Thank you, Chief O'Neill. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your Missouri Wing Commander, Colonel Tom Martin.
I didn't fall down the steps, so I guess that's a step in the right direction, correct? I want to thank all of our dignitaries that are here with us this morning. We're really honored to have you here and representing not only the military, but our national staff. And I want to welcome each and every one of you as well. It's great to be able to address someone in person. It's also great to be able to have, an audience that's watching us today, that's watching viral. And I just want to welcome each and every one of you, and I think you really enjoy, and I think they will also enjoy the presentation and workout sessions. As I said, it's great to be here in person. If you remember back several months ago, seems like eternity, but last year, I only was able to speak to you virtually on a very short presentation. And that was a time of first. And we're still in that first profile, as you can tell with this, but I'm not wanting to talk to you about first today. I want to move forward. And probably as I go through this, initially you're going to think, what in the world is he going to be doing? Or where is he headed with this? But trust me, we'll see how things work out. You know, I read somewhere that Helen Keller was asked a very inappropriate question at one time by a reporter. That reporter asked her, said, "It must be really hard to be blind." Ms. Keller thought for a moment, and then she replied to the reporter. She said, "Yes, it's difficult being blind at times, but what is really bad is being able to see and not have a vision." And that's what I want to talk to you about today. And if I get the right button here. It's not showing up real well, but a vision is something that all of you need in life. But a vision is also something that you have to make decisions for because you control it. Now, that tree that you're seeing in that slide doesn't mean maybe much to you at this point, but bear with me, because your life is like that tree. Your vision is that tree as you move forward. That tree can become all types of things by the decisions you make. You control your decisions, you control the outcome. Your decisions will determine how far your vision will succeed, how detailed it may become, how complete your vision is achieved, and how successful that vision will turn out to be. We must always remember that we must start our vision and make decisions to achieve the desired outcome. And I wish that all of you could see that, because that is the same tree. Decisions were made. I have the privilege of driving by that tree just about every day, or at least every other day. And that's an inspiration to me to know that someone had the vision to turn that tree into that beautiful artwork. I want you to apply that same thought to CAP. Not just to your life, but to CAP. When you first started into CAP, you may not know too much about it. You had ideas, but you made the decision to join. That decision took some dedication on your part. You made the decision to attend meetings, to set training, to learn, to move forward, and to apply yourselves. That's what we do in life as well. Life is full of decisions. I cannot tell you that every decision you make or that I will make will be the right decision. But I will tell you, you will be making decisions your whole life. It may be very simple things. You made several today. First of all, what time you got up this morning? What did you wear? For those of you here in the room, maybe you didn't have that choice. You knew what you had to wear. I've got a feeling some of the people watching us at home may not be dressed for this event. Well, fortunately, we can't see that. You decided what you were going to have for breakfast. You decide what clothes you were going to wear, as I said. You decide every day how you're going to get to work, or if you're actually going to work. But those are all decisions that you're going to make. If you don't make decisions, guess what? Somebody else is going to make them for you. And you will live with the consequences. I don't think any of us want to live life by chance. We need to always be looking forward, planning, moving the right direction, because we all want to be the best that we can be, not only in CAP, but in life. Some of you may realize or may know that my wife is a retired school teacher. And I will neither confirm or deny that I sometimes steal nuggets of wisdom, information, knowledge from her, from things I've seen her do, from things I've seen her work with kids. But one thing I want to read to you today is, it's actually a poster that she has in our house, and it's right there by the kitchen table on the wall. And again, to me, it's an inspiration. It's entitled "The Bright New Day." It says, "Complete with 24 hours of opportunities, choices, and attitudes. A perfect match set of 1,440 minutes. The unique gift, this one day, cannot be exchanged, replaced, or refunded. Handle it with care. Make the most of it. There is only one to a customer." Something to think about. First time I shouldn't say the first time, but my granddaughter, when she was 6, she was reading that one day. And the next thing I know, she said, "Papa, you realize that's 86,400 seconds?" When you start looking at that day, what it represents, and what you can achieve in that time, is where we have to really think about our vision. I don't want to speak to you very long. In fact, I'm going to be closing now. But there's 2 things I want you to remember. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're probably correct in every decision you make in life. So have that positive attitude. Think that you can achieve it, and work to achieve it, because you can. I had no idea 12 years ago, 13 years ago, when I joined CAP, that I would ever be the wing commander. Had no idea whatsoever. But things happen. And hopefully I made the right decision. I'll let you all be the judge of that with time. But remember, you will be confronted with decisions. Decisions are like forks in the middle of the road. But don't be afraid of them. View them as opportunities to be able to move forward. Would you all come up here? I want you to hand out something. Would my group commanders please stand? That's here. They have something they're going to bring to you. Oh, back up there. This is something to help you remember that your decisions need to be viewed in your vision. It sounds kind of silly when you look at them, but what I have here for you is a group or a number of little forks. Those forks, every time you see one, hopefully will remind you of the forks in the middle of the road, the decisions you have to make as you move forward in life. There are bags in those, each of the group commander has, that has your squadrons in your group in there, and there is a fork for every member, senior and cadet, that's in there. That fork, even though it's, you say, well, just plastic, hopefully it will cause you to think. Those forks in the middle of the road, think about it. Use those as your opportunities, and let's make the best of them. Thank you. I have to go one more click there to get off.
Thank you, Colonel Martin. Always inspirational. Don't you love it when somebody actually makes you kind of think? You know, keeps you awake. Everybody in the back, keep you awake. Yeah, all right. And now I would like to welcome our North Central Region Commander, Colonel John O'Neill.
Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today?
Really cool, sir.
So General Eves, welcome. General Phelka, welcome again. Colonel Martin, Chiefs, all three of you up there now. I'm not going to get, it's going to take me forever to get used to saying Chief O'Neill. But it's going to be nice because now I can stop lying at the house. I've had to lie on that one for quite a while. And Colonel Meyers, thank you very much for coming. I do appreciate you being here. He's an outstanding member of my team at the region, and I know he's a huge supporter of everything we do. So Colonel Martin gave the pearls of wisdom today, so I'll let him do that. I'll leave that to him. Things in North Central region obviously have been very much like they have been in Missouri. We've been shut down. Let me explain to you a little bit about how shut down Civil Air Patrol has been in North Central region with just a couple of examples. We haven't shut down cadet milestones. I don't have numbers for you, but we've got SPOTS awards, Eaker awards, Earhart awards, hundreds of Wright Brother awards in the past 11 months. Okay? That hasn't stopped. Search and rescue missions haven't stopped. We've done search and rescue. We've done disaster relief. We've gone looking for ELTs. None of that has stopped. In particular, Iowa. Iowa has not only refreshed itself, they have grown their membership. They have more cadets now than they did a year ago. They have more senior members now than they did a year ago. They've increased their pilot numbers from 7 in the entire wing to 30 in the past year during the shutdown. And they've also started 2 new units in the past year during this shutdown. Kansas wing. Now, they're not quite the growth wing. And Iowa, to be honest with you, Iowa is the only wing in the nation that has grown both their cadets and seniors over the past year and increased their number of units. But Kansas wing, their COVID response, they've been working very diligently with their state emergency management office to assist with the COVID response. They've been delivering test kits. They've been delivering PPE. Lately, they've been delivering vaccines, both on the ground and in the air. They almost daily have blood runs for the American Red Cross all over the state, whether it's on the ground or in the air. They're also working with the Kansas Air National Guard to help train their joint tactical air controllers over there. And they're flying to assist those TACPs, the tactical air control parties, with their training and continuing it to happen, or allowing it to continue to happen. So Kansas, again, very, very active. Nebraska wing has just, well, 2 weeks ago today, they have a new commander with a very new vision. Some of you may have a little bit of history with Nebraska. I promise you, this vision is something you have not seen. Nebraska is on its way forward. Minnesota wing has led the nation in the number of cadets receiving the private pilot certificate through Civil Air Patrol with the help of the Cadet Wings program. North Dakota wing is assisting an Army National Guard unit from North Dakota who is preparing to go to DC to provide air defense for the District of Columbia. And they are flying Civil Air Patrol aircraft in and allowing the air defense artillery to actually track our aircraft to get their training and their proficiency levels up to speed. South Dakota wing has been very innovative over the past year. They've been the first. They were actually the first to do a virtual conference last year and a virtual change of command. They were the first wing in the nation to do aerial vaccine delivery. They were the ones that worked out a whole lot of the bugs so that we could get that working. So honestly, where's the shutdown? We aren't shut down. We're still doing our mission. We are still serving our nation, our states, and our community. And that's all because of you and the members of your units. So I'd like to thank you very much for continuing the mission and keeping Civil Air Patrol alive instead of being shut down. I'm promoting you. Colonel Martin mentioned vision. Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, I'm promoting you right above me. Colonel Martin mentioned vision and having vision. Vision right now is getting us back to normal. But what is normal? Normal has changed. When we go back to Civil Air Patrol normal, it's not going to be what it looked like prior to the pandemic. Because now we've discovered this virtual thing. And yes, we're tired of it. I'm sorry, all of you out there in virtual land right now that aren't able to join us here today. It'll be done. But the ability for us to reach out to members who can't make it to meetings, who physically can't get there for whatever reason. Somebody's sick and can't get to a meeting, can still participate in that meeting. Somebody who's out of town can still participate in that meeting. They are actually talking about potentially having virtual squadrons across the country where members in extremely underserved areas can still participate in the Civil Air Patrol program because of the virtual environment that we've been able to build. We're not done. We have a bright future, and it's even brighter because of the things that we've done during this pandemic. So congratulate yourselves. Don't feel down. I sent out a big message the other day to all the commanders in the region. That light at the end of the tunnel, it really is the light at the end of the tunnel. Keep working for it. It's not a train coming at you. It really is that light at the end of the tunnel. Keep going. Now, remember the light at the end of the tunnel is usually the sun, and every now and then clouds will go over in front of the sun, and that light will dim, but it'll get bright again. Keep moving towards the light. It's okay. We'll get there. Thank you all for having me today, and I'm always happy to be here in Missouri. So enjoy the rest of your conference, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Colonel O'Neill. It's a long list of accomplishments that for being completely shut down. Please welcome the North Central Liaison Region Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Meyers. That's the thing on. Well, good morning, Missouri Wing. Good morning. Chief, Colonel, General, Doctor. Anybody remember that? Am I dating myself? I'm getting old. That's why I need these.
Distinguished guests. You know, typically, I've spent a lot of years with North Central now, and so typically I'll get up here and I'll talk about maybe some things that the liaison region is busy formulating over the next year, events that we're going to have. Sometimes I might talk about a wider CAP USAF aspect in some way. And sometimes there will be sound bites or vision or priorities that have come down from higher echelons that I want to communicate out to the wing. But today, I'm here for the first in-person wing conference that we've had, that I've attended in over a year. And so I just hopefully want to encourage a little and then just say thank you. Because 2020 was a really, really tough year for pretty much everybody, young and old. There were a ton of challenges that nobody could have predicted in 2019. As Colonel O'Neill wrote to the region, yeah, the light at the end of the tunnel isn't a train, and a new day is dawning, and I believe that's true, absolutely. Baby steps, we'll get there, some ebb and flow, but we'll get there. But until we emerge, we have to continue to fight. We absolutely have to continue to fight. And even though CAPs is not a combat mission, you fight. And you've been fighting day and night over this past year. Along the way in any fight, a lot of things happen. After first contact and shots are fired, lessons learned, we adjust fire. As Mike Tyson once said, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. Absolutely. And when CAP was told you can't meet in person, you got to stop this, that's a punch to the gut for a lot of folks out there. And so, new plan. Many times hardships, difficulties, they're the origination for new ideas, innovative ways, and they come from every direction, from high and low, young and old, here and across the world. And so CAP began to innovate and train differently, using those lessons learned. It was about a year ago in the, as Colonel Lee said, the first virtual conference out there, South Dakotas, as they were forging through these new challenges. Friday night virtual social events. I found myself talking to a Lieutenant Jack Goebel. And this guy's a CAP senior member in Japan. And over at Yokota Air Base in Japan, he works with a cadet squadron. Again, building that future, that next generation. And it was that night, as I'm talking to this person in Japan at a wing conference, the first of this kind, that it really set in. You know, there's going to be some short-term turbulence and speed bumps, but in the end, CAP is going to be just fine. You innovate. So those geographic borders that so often had typically fenced conferences or events, those came down. And there's a lot of reaching out. So lessons learned and training. Along the way, also, as in the fight, CAP has very real casualties. Many mourn, many are still mourning. And unfortunately, there may still be a little bitterness to come. And along the way, some of the skirmishes are going to end in retreats. And a number of the wings membership has decreased. Events, very, very important events that have happened for generations had to be canceled. And for some out there, once in a lifetime opportunities were missed this last year. But there were far, far more victories. In some ways, we connected faster and better across greater distances. CAP has been working for years, almost providentially, for 2020. And our very own Colonel A was part of that in laying the foundation for a shift in our education and training with CAP. And I think that a lot of it is due to her drive, dedication, and direction. Volunteer University came to fruition just in time. But there were a whole host of improvements, changes in how we did things, all of the hard work that went into the national conference virtually last year. This engaged folks and connected folks globally, providing training, collaboration in ways not thought possible before, and providing them to many that would not have been able to do that otherwise. So from flying and driving tests, equipment, supplies, all around your states, to the support and the helpful spirit that you show at supply and distribution centers where you work, from the warehouses, the training, Operation Pulse Lift, the very lifeblood in your veins. CAP is innovating new ways of engaging and serving. Now to the tune of over 41,000 volunteer days. It's over 112 years, volunteer days. And that's just in support of the new emergent needs over the last year. Plus, you're charged with staying prepared and ready for your core mission set. And so along the way, during the battle, the ebb and flow, hope rises. And so now we're in a graduated and a deliberate emergence from the doldrums of the last year. And so we step forward carefully, hopefully, across all of our areas. But for some, that hope might be a little bit more difficult to see. And there's been a very real fatigue over the last year. And for some folks, they just don't really care anymore. They don't want to put up with it. But this isn't the time to give up. And this isn't the time to give in. This isn't where we throw in the towel. And after the market has crashed, it's not when you sell everything and cement your losses. It's when you buy in. So this is where CAP shows its resolve, its perseverance, your eternal optimism, and your commitment to what the mission, our nation, and through our cadets, our future can be. So thank you. Thank you for what you do every day, all day long. To keep CAP growing, expanding the mission into new mission sets, communicating and spreading the vision. Again, it goes back to that why that binds all of you. Thank you for stewarding the organization, its resources, and especially its people, and for the excellence and the professionalism that you bring as the Air Force Auxiliary. I'd like to close with Chesterton, a quote by Chesterton, who wrote, "How much larger your life would be if yourself would become smaller in it." How much larger your life would be if yourself would become smaller in it. I think over this past year, CAP has had a fairly large life because you've kept your eyes on the needs of others. You've continued to emphasize serving your communities, your states, and your nation. I think that many in America, their lives have gotten a lot smaller over this last year, as they've been bound by their four walls, their internet bandwidth, or their supply of toilet paper. But CAP looked out and saw need, recognized opportunities, and found ways to continue serving. Your lives were larger for it as you focused on the needs of others. And that's a good fight. That's a good fight. And though it's not military combat, you fight just the same. So keep fighting. And now, even through the ebb and flow, press on to victory. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Myers. And now, would you all please welcome the National Vice Commander, Brigadier General Edward Phelka.
Good morning, everybody. Brigadier General Eves, thank you so much for being with us today. Your presence here really underscores the importance of the partnership between Civil Air Patrol and the National Guard. And from everything that I've heard, the partnership between Missouri and Civil Air Patrol, Missouri National Guard and Civil Air Patrol is strong and getting stronger. So thanks for being here. Colonel O'Neill, your message of proof that we never really shut down, we just simply changed the way we met, was really wonderful. And Colonel Martin, your discussion of vision was really inspirational. Colonel Meyers, right on target. We are an amazing organization with people who have stepped up in challenging circumstances to really serve our fellow Americans, our communities, our states, and our nation. Chief Dandridge, great to have you with us representing the NCO Corps at the national level. Chief Mudry and Chief O'Neill. The three of you so ably and professionally represent our NCO Corps. It's wonderful to have you with us as well. Thank you all for being here. What I'd like to do is give you a little bit more perspective on how things have been going. We've had 2020, everybody knows it's been a challenging year. I'm going to go over that a little bit and what's been going on in Civil Air Patrol in 2020, as well as the COVID-19 impacts that we've seen. And then we're going to look ahead a little bit. Now, when 2020 began, we were in the midst of exceptional growth in Civil Air Patrol. Over the 3 years that General Smith had been in command at the beginning of the year, we had seen growth from about 55,000 to all the way up to over 65, close to 66,000 members at the beginning of 2020. It was absolutely wonderful. We were embracing all of the things that General Smith had talked about at the beginning of his command, the top level imperatives of excellence and professionalism. You heard more about that today. Even though COVID-19 has tested us, we've still demonstrated excellence and professionalism. But at the beginning of 2020, General Smith had a plan for us. He wanted us to execute the 2020 action plan in accordance with our strategic planning process. He wanted to roll out that new education and training program scheduled for August 4th of 2020. That was a big, big initiative that had been years in the planning. He wanted to complete the integration of more than 50 recommendations from 2018 and 2019 cross-functional teams and working groups that had been working on numerous different initiatives across the organization to make CAP a better place to be a volunteer. As well, he wanted to incorporate the results of a first Air Force fleet and mission study that had been commissioned by the Board of Governors and paid for generously by the First Air Force. And these were all things that were part of his plan, part of, we were getting into the third year, close to beginning the fourth year of General Smith's command. And then coronavirus happened. I remember when we were first talking about this, it was about 13 months ago. We were in Washington, D.C. at the end of a very successful National Legislative Day, February of 2020. And we were all sitting around at the Spots Association dinner, and a few of us were coughing and blowing our noses and sniffling. And we were kind of joking about this thing over in China that had started to make its way to the United States. And everyone said, well, yeah, it's going to be fine. Our country is not going to be impacted too badly by this. In fact, I'm hearing it's probably already starting to go away. Little did we know that just a couple of weeks later, Civil Air Patrol would issue a stop movement order consistent with what the Department of Defense had done. Stop movement across the Department of Defense, COVID-19 impact. General Smith issued an order just over a year ago that said Civil Air Patrol squadrons are to no longer meet in person. Mission essential travel only. And those were some eye-opening directives. And it started a weekly broadcast from General Smith's office where he was talking about what was going on and what needed to happen. And we began to look at waivers that were needed in order to continue executing our program. If we can't meet in person, there are certain things we can't do, but we still need to accomplish the mission. We still have congressionally mandated program directives that we need to execute on. So how are we going to do that? So we brought together the innovative minds of folks at the national level, wing and region commanders, subject matter experts across the organization, and we started to figure that out. At the same time, we began to get requests from different agencies, FEMA, the Air Force, Public Health Service, state level organizations for COVID-19 relief missions. Now, Civil Air Patrol, of course, air being our middle name, we're well known for air-based disaster relief and disaster response. We do a lot of aerial imaging for hurricanes, for tornado damage and that sort of thing. But with COVID-19, a lot of the requests were ground-based. So this was a little bit different reaction than we were used to seeing from Civil Air Patrol, but that's fine because our members are incredibly resilient and innovative and responsive. And whatever the request was, we responded. Some of the missions were absolutely air-based, but a lot of them were ground-based. We were helping to serve meals. We were helping to deliver personal protective equipment, both by ground and by air. One of the stories I heard was from North Carolina, where a Civil Air Patrol vehicle visited every single county in the state of North Carolina. And it was a tremendous outreach to folks who had maybe never heard of us. And at the top there, you see opening up America again. Soon after the COVID-19 pandemic began to really impact us in earnest, the White House looked at a plan to reopen America. And Civil Air Patrol quickly looked at that plan and examined it and adapted it to reopen Civil Air Patrol. And we came up with a three-phased approach to reopening or remobilizing Civil Air Patrol, from mission essential travel only to getting back to being ready to meet in person, meeting in person, and finally having activities that we were used to. It's a three-phase plan, just like the three-phase White House plan. And we rolled this out thinking, well, in a couple of months, we'll be back to normal. Yeah, not so much. The plan that you see here is taken from a slideshow that was created a year ago. And we've only modified that plan slightly as we've learned more about the virus and how best to deal with it, what the best public health safety measures are like. And we've modified slightly, allowing certain activities to take place in earlier phases. But for the most part, this is exactly the same three-phase approach that we started with. Can you play the video there? This is a 1-minute video that shows the impact of COVID-19 across the country. It starts in January of 2020. And those red lines that you see, the darker red means more cases. Lighter red means fewer cases, and the really, really light tan is not much impact at all. But this is a time lapse of the impact of COVID-19 across the country. Right about here is the beginning of the second wave, where you see the 4th of July impact. The Southeast is being especially hard hit. That second wave begins to slow. But then in August and September, we see schools opening up. In the eastern 2/3 of the country that's population heavy, we saw a lot of disease impact. Now we're in the fall, October. Look at what happens here in North Central region. There's Thanksgiving. Look at the entire country being devastated by COVID-19. Here's Christmas and New Year's. Everybody is being really seriously, severely impacted by COVID-19. After mid-January, we see a very positive trend, a lowering of the cases of COVID-19 across the country. But that really illustrates how we had that first wave in early March and April, where we shut down the country. And then that wave began to abate. And we said, great, we flattened the curve. 4th of July happened, lots of travel, lots of gatherings, and we saw a spike. That was the Southeast that was hard hit. And we began to close down more wings that had previously been opened up. And in the fall, so many of our wings had to go back to phase 1 or phase 0. It was demoralizing. It was challenging for us as an organization, but we got through it. And just as that second wave was abating, we heard Colonel Meyers talking about this a few minutes ago, August of 2020, some really important, really positive things were happening in Civil Air Patrol. We hosted our first ever national virtual conference. Now, a typical in-person conference, maybe in a change of national command year, a really busy national conference would draw 700 to 800 people in person. This virtual national conference was accessible to more than 10,000 Civil Air Patrol members from not just across the country, but from across the world. We've got overseas squadrons in South Korea, Japan, Belgium, Germany, and England. And soon to be another one, I believe. We're looking at standing up another one. But 10,000 unique members and guests joined our national conference. And if you recall, a few minutes ago, I mentioned one of the national priorities at the beginning of 2020 was to launch the education and training program on August 4th. And that's exactly what we did. Colonel A and her team of more than 200 volunteers from across every discipline in Civil Air Patrol finished the program and launched it exactly on time, August 4th, 2020. And that's now the new education and training program that we have. It's a modular approach that completely revitalizes and updates the 1970s era professional development program that we used to have, modernizes it, and has already shown tremendous impact. The graph that you see on the bottom there, the blue lines are 2019 accomplishments of level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and the red lines are 2020 accomplishments of the completion of those levels. And 4 out of the 5 levels have seen a tremendous increase in the number of members who are able to complete those levels. This new education and training program is more accessible to members, and it provides flexibility to do the program in person, online, or hybrid. It's innovative, it's creative, it's modern, and it's fantastic. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at it, I strongly encourage you to do that. September 30th, 2020 marked the end of fiscal 2020 for us. And at the end of that year, you can't see it on the right side because it's cut off on the slide, but we had 130 lives saved, credited to Civil Air Patrol. That was the fourth highest number of lives saved in a year since World War II. In a pandemic year, Civil Air Patrol, as Colonel O'Neill said, was not shut down. In fact, we were just as busy, if not busier than ever. And already in fiscal 21, which began October 1st of last year, we've already been credited with 43 lives saved. Civil Air Patrol saves lives. You save lives. That inspires me. Now, of course, 2020, as we've heard, resulted in a drop in membership. Overall, we lost about 15% of our members. And in Missouri, you went from 1,057 members down to 819. That's a loss of over 22% of members here in Missouri. That's higher than a bigger loss than we've seen across the country. But I don't view that as a negative. I view that as an opportunity, as a challenge. We've had an incredible year in this last 360 plus days. You know, COVID relief missions, this is going to be one of those things that we talk about for years and years to come. It is our single largest mobilization since World War II as an organization. For more than 360 straight days, we have been working COVID relief missions. The way those states are colored shows the different kinds of missions that we've worked. I said earlier, a lot of ground-based missions, everything from personal protective equipment transport to feeding the hungry, transporting meals, working at points of distribution, working at vaccine sites in the last couple of months, and blood drives. We are in the top 1% of American Red Cross blood drives for what we've done in Civil Air Patrol. Operation Pulse Lift, 50 of our 52 wings have participated. That's incredible. That saves lives. And 41,402 volunteer days. Assume a day is 8 hours of a volunteer's time. Over 41,400 volunteer days contributed. And the statistics are there on the right. Over 8 million meals served, over 7,000 vials of vaccine transported. Civil Air Patrol saves lives. We ease suffering and we save lives through what we do. And I find that absolutely inspirational. So 2020 was a difficult year, but it was one of our best years, if you ask me. The way that our members stepped up, the innovative approach, the creative approach that we've had to getting together and still accomplishing program objectives has been amazing. But we've got a lot of work to do yet. We still have transformational changes that we need to finish institutionalizing. We have to figure out how to incorporate lessons learned from COVID-19 and just make those a part of how we do business as an organization. 2020 also saw a lot of civil unrest across the country. And that's driven some very important discussions at home and in our organization. We've been talking about diversity and inclusiveness as an organization for years now. And the civil unrest that we've seen has brought those discussions even closer to the forefront in CAP. They're national priorities and we're working on those. And finally, the First Air Force Fleet and Mission Study that I mentioned, we still have those recommendations to incorporate. Let's talk about those working groups, those 2018 and 2019 cross-functional teams and working groups. There were more than a dozen working groups with 10 cross-functional teams, 6 individual initiatives that resulted in 55 actionable recommendations. They have 3 basic areas that we're looking at. One of them is financial stability of the organization, improving the volunteer experience, making it easier and more palatable to be a Civil Air Patrol volunteer, and figuring out ways to improve the processes by which we execute our missions. Ultimately, the outcome of this objective is to help shape Civil Air Patrol for future success. The red part of the pie graph that you see there are objectives, or of the 55, we've had, I think it's 49 that have been completed. And the small blue portion of the pie, there were 2 recommendations that were not approved because they weren't practical for us, and the rest of them are on track. So we're not losing touch with institutionalizing these things and improving our organization. And on diversity and inclusiveness, this remains a national priority. We have an absolutely amazing cadre of diversity officers. The National Diversity Officer, Lieutenant Colonel Liz Cito, has overseen the selection of and recommendation of 8 regional diversity officers and 52 wing diversity officers. Every one of those positions has been filled. There's a diversity regulation that's in coordination right now. And Colonel Cito has actually been selected to be the next Virginia wing commander. So she's actually Colonel Select Cito. So we're posting, if not already done, it will be done soon, the National Diversity Officer position is going to be available for application. That doesn't mean we're going to lose traction. This program has been briefed regularly to General Smith and the Board of Governors, and there's tremendous opportunity. We've come a long way, but there's still a lot of opportunity to embrace diversity and inclusiveness as an organization. After all, shouldn't we reflect the communities in which we serve? We need to look like the communities that we serve. That's what diversity and inclusiveness is all about. We want every eligible citizen to be able to be a Civil Air Patrol member without barriers. That's a national priority. So the first Air Force Fleet and Mission Study, there were 17 recommendations from this external organization. And if you break those down and unbundle them, there were 21 different actionable recommendations. They varied from optimize the fleet to get every eligible cadet a private pilot certificate, change the way you do the budget, create design operational capability statements. There were some specific ones for CAP USAF. There were about 6 different ones that the CAP USAF team is looking at, how CAP USAF is organized and under what organization they fall. So it's a huge, very heavy lift, but I'll tell you what, it's worth it. What we're doing in this fleet and mission study is going to positively impact Civil Air Patrol for the next decade. What kind of airplanes do we need to accomplish the missions? Back that up. What kind of missions do we need to be looking at? We talked to our CAP USAF partners and we said, what are your priorities? In what order should we look at these missions? And for the first time in a long time, CAP USAF has said, these are the priorities that you should be looking at. Very helpful information for us. So we took that information and we're comparing all kinds of different aircraft, some that we use and some that we have never used, against capabilities, against mission requirements. What does our fleet need to look like next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now for the missions that we're doing? This may fundamentally shift the way that we look at aircraft acquisition in Civil Air Patrol. We're working very hard at this with a very open mind. How can we best equip Civil Air Patrol to be even more successful in the future? That's what this is about. This has national priority level. This is Board of Governors' attention, and it's going to be worth the lift. 2020 hit us hard with respect to pilots. A lot of folks were not able to get out and fly and maintain a level of proficiency or even get the check rides that they needed to be legal to fly in Civil Air Patrol. We extended some of those ops quals, but extending ops quals and allowing check rides to go 12, 13, 14 months necessarily diminished our proficiency. So CAP USAF stepped up to the plate and funded proficiency, funded check rides for folks that were beyond 12 months, funded new pilot onboard training. And that's exactly what we needed. So now we are in a position where we're well suited and well equipped and well funded to restore the base of pilots that we lost. Our objective is to get back to where we were before the pandemic started. And I'm hearing success stories from North Central Region. Fantastic. I love what's going on in North Central Region. So looking ahead to 2021, our public health professionals Incidentally, our National Chief of the Public Health Office in Civil Air Patrol, Lieutenant Colonel Tom Janisco, he works at the White House COVID-19 Task Force. He's a commissioned officer in the U.S. Public Health Service, and he has told us aggressively plan for in-person activities in the spring and summer of 2021 because our models show that COVID-19 is going to be diminishing. As folks practice good public health risk management protocols like wearing masks and keeping 6 foot distance, sanitizing surfaces, etc., and as vaccines begin to penetrate the population, we're looking at aggressively pursuing those in-person activities, whether they be national summer activities or encampments. We're looking at ways on how to get that done. And if a wing is in phase 2 and a typical encampment can't look the way it needs to, I have every confidence in our national cadet programs folks, regional and wing cadet programs, functional areas, to figure out ways to get that done. I have every confidence that we will. But we're going to be holding activities this summer. We're going to be doing them. They're going to meet or exceed program objectives, and we're going to do them safely. Remobilization is progressing. In December and January, we had a lot of wings shut down because what you saw in that map, that was that dark maroon color when the entire country was suffering from horrible disease penetration throughout every state. Well, fortunately, since mid-January, we've seen that trend has been very favorable. So as of today, we've got 40 wings in phase 2 of remobilization, and the other 12 are in phase 1. Missouri is one of several wings that's knocking on the door of phase 3. And I got to give props to now Lieutenant Colonel Smith for leading the COVID-19 plans efforts here in the state of Missouri. You were the first wing that we permitted to remobilize by squadron. And the purple on the map are wings that are permitted to remobilize by squadron. You see Hawaii, California, and Missouri. This wing is a benchmark for how that's done and done well. So my compliments to Lieutenant Colonel Smith and the entire Missouri Wing COVID-19 plans team for doing such an exceptional job at executing on a very challenging mission. Some of the wings that you see there in gray in phase 1, they're almost ready for phase 2. And we've got about 6 or 7 wings that are very, very close to their criteria to enter phase 3. And I fully expect that by the time we get to a few more spring conferences and encampments, we will have wings in phase 3. We're getting there. Civil Air Patrol's reach is tremendous. It's a little dark on this slide, but there's a dot where every CAP squadron is in the country. From Puerto Rico to Alaska and Hawaii, to South Korea, Japan, England, Germany, Belgium. Across the world, we've got over 55,000 members, 560 airplanes, 1,000 vehicles, thousands and thousands of communication assets. But our most important assets are our members. And our members here in North Central Region and Missouri Wing are very ably led by Colonel O'Neill and Colonel Martin. Gentlemen, you're doing a fantastic job leading these members through some very challenging times. But I want to give credit to everybody in Missouri Wing, whether you're a group commander, a squadron commander, or someone who has simply ridden out the pandemic, doing your best to participate in CAP during this incredible, unprecedented, challenging time. My compliments and my thanks to you for staying involved, staying engaged, and being a Civil Air Patrol volunteer. It's meaningful work. Civil Air Patrol saves lives, and Civil Air Patrol shapes lives. You all inspire me with what you do, and I want to say thank you for everything that you do for CAP, for your communities, for the state of Missouri, and for the nation. Thank you very much.
Well, if that doesn't get your heart pumping a little bit, then I don't know what else will. Hopefully you guys are seeing the stuff that we've been putting out, the stuff we've been talking about. You know, it is coming. Now you're hearing it straight from National. So as of right now, and for the roughly about 45 viewers we have online, which is really kind of cool, we're going to take a quick break. So if you could all be back in your seats in about 15 minutes, or we are going to send our Wing IG after you. You got a job? All right. So 15 minutes, come back, be in your seats for round 2.
Well, I think right now our biggest I got to note that we're that's one of the things that COVID kind of keep us at ease a little bit of we're going to reinvigorate I got to run the rest of the Angie Pop. That break was
from Texas. All right, are you on? All right, welcome back, everybody. I wanted to kind of take one little moment. How many of you guys have never actually heard General Phelka or Chief Dandridge actually talk in person or actually seen them in person? Pretty dynamic speakers, right? I'm a little bit on the bragging a little bit is that I think in my entire time in CAP, this is the coolest command team that we've actually had, led by General Smith. Actually, probably the coolest and most dynamic command team that we've ever had, at least in the almost, or well, 25 years, plus or minus. Yeah. Anyway, that I've been around. So what you're seeing in CAP now, the changes that you're seeing is a direct result of that leadership. And I'll tell you right now, General Smith's gonna be kind of hard to replace. Kind of sad to see the guy go, but you know, everybody's got to move on. Anyway, all right. So that was my little segue. Do what?
I have some if you need them.
All right. So I know. Hey. The problem was you told me we were ahead of schedule. So Wing Conference is a time the membership gathers to celebrate our successes and look forward to the upcoming year. This year's conference slogan is, the mission stays the same, we adapt the approach. 2020 was a unique year. We learned to find new ways to interact and connect with all of our CAP friends, found creative ways to have meetings, and still managed to complete our training and missions. This morning, we're going to recognize some of the outstanding members for their accomplishments. First, we are pleased to announce the 2020 Cadet Unit Award recipients. We would like the squadron commander or representative to stand at your seats when we announce the recipients, and then we'll give you the certificates and the streamers later. First off, Harry S. Truman Composite Squadron with their 3rd consecutive award. Springfield Regional Composite Squadron with their 2nd consecutive award. Winsville Composite Squadron with the 5th consecutive award. Lee Summit Composite Squadron with their 3rd consecutive award. Platte Valley Composite Squadron with their 4th consecutive award. Table Rock Lake Composite Squadron with their 4th consecutive award. And the Laclede County Composite Squadron with their 1st award. Congratulations to these units for really putting on an outstanding cadet program, and keep up the great work. At this time, I'm pleased to announce the Squadron of Merit. Due to COVID-19, we did not get to announce the 2020 recipients. The 2020 Squadron of Merit was the Springfield Regional Composite Squadron. Okay, so last year's over, right? All right. And the Squadron of Merit for 2021 is the Platte Valley Composite Squadron. But we are also going to announce one award from last year, and that is the Squadron of Distinction. And this is the Region Award, which is, or was, the Springfield Regional Composite Squadron. I'm also pleased to announce the 2021 Missouri Wing Endowment Fund Scholarship recipients. This is an award that comes out of a fund that's managed by the current and past former wing commanders. I won't say what Colonel Williams calls them, but It is a competitive scholarship, and cadets will submit an application to the board and request funds for, generally it's for flight training. This year, our funds did well. Oh, and it's a managed fund that plays in the stock market game. So a lot of the funds that end up being dispersed kind of depend on how that stock market works out. This year, our funds did well, and we're pleased to announce that 3 cadets have earned flight scholarships. Cadet Major Taryn Fletcher, Cadet First Lieutenant Michael Foster, and Cadet Chief Master Sergeant Lauren Phelka. Congratulations and good luck on your flight training. Colonel Martin, would you please come forward to present a few awards? Major Steve Vogt, report to the Wing Commander. From 21 March 2020 through 8 May of 2020, Major Vogt served as the incident commander for 2 missions. He ensured that the St. Louis County EOC warehouse was staffed with CAP volunteers as needed daily. During these missions, he also took the role of IC of a 3rd mission searching for an active ELT. Throughout the COVID-19 missions, he reported daily briefings to CAP National Headquarters and the Missouri National Guard. For these actions, Major Steve Vogt is being awarded a Wing Commander's Commendation. Major Jared Hort, please report to the Wing Commander. Major Jared Horn, along with Major Perry Workman and Lieutenant Colonel Brian Jones, are being recognized for their work at the unit level. Each of these members worked hard at the unit level throughout 2020 to not only maintain squadron during the COVID-19 pandemic, but facilitated a membership increase for both cadets and seniors. Major Horn, Major Workman, and Lieutenant Colonel Jones are role models of the highest traits of excellence in volunteer service. For their actions, these members are recipients of a Wing Commander's Commendation. At this time, would Colonel O'Neill please join Colonel Martin for the presentation of some region level awards. Will Captain Sam Samarasinga, myself, Lieutenant Colonel David Miller, Colonel Erica Williams, and Colonel Tom Martin report to the Region Commander.
These Missouri Wing members are being recognized for their work on the Missouri Wing COVID-19 Remobilization Committee. For their work preparing and organizing the Wing's COVID-19 pandemic response, they're the recipients of the Region Commander Commendation.
Oh, need a picture?
And hold your,
Major Steve Vogt report to the Region Commander.
Major Steve Vogt is being recognized for his hard work on the Missouri COVID-19 Remobilization Committee. Major Vogt volunteered for the daunting task of collecting COVID-19 data each week. In addition to gathering the data, he designed the spreadsheet that the team used to review the data. Furthermore, each week he took feedback from the committee on what data was presented and how it was presented to tweak the spreadsheet. Due to Missouri Wing's plan to remobilize by county and the initial lack of centralized data, Major Vogt researched county population and other factors to help present a precise picture of what was going on within each county. Additionally, he researched bordering states from which units have members to confirm their eligibility to attend meetings. For these actions and more, Major Steve Vogt is the recipient of the Meritorious Service Award. Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Smith, please report to the Region Commander. During the time period of 18 March 2020 through 15 January 2021, during the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic, Lieutenant Colonel Smith was one of the initial volunteers to respond to the request to man the St. Louis County Emergency Operations Center PPE warehouse. Committing over 200 hours to the mission, Lieutenant Colonel Smith's leadership ability and organizational skills were immediately recognized by the St. Louis County EOC Center Command. And she was appointed as the call center unit leader. Concurrent to this deployment, Lieutenant Colonel Smith continued her duties as the Missouri Wing Chief of Staff, coordinating the wing-wide COVID-19 response, which involved several concurrent missions throughout the state, and was appointed as the Chief of the Missouri Wing Remobilization Team. Lieutenant Colonel Smith kept the team focused and on task through a dynamic and ever-changing environment. Lieutenant Colonel Smith ensured all members of the wing were kept informed of the remobilization efforts and the data driving the decision process. National headquarters referred several other wings remobilization teams to Lieutenant Colonel Smith for directions and procedures to follow, noting that Missouri Wing, under Colonel Smith's leadership, led the national effort to reopen using an innovative approach of going unit by unit. Lieutenant Colonel Smith has coordinated virtual training missions, training sessions for both personnel both within Missouri Wing and beyond, and has opened a visiting speaker series for cadets with former CAP cadet and USAF officer Colonel Nicole Malakowski as the first speaker. Lieutenant Colonel Smith has selflessly devoted hundreds of hours to the Missouri Wing response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Her leadership and innovation have kept not only the Missouri Wing focused and engaged, but also numerous other wings in North Central Region and beyond. For these actions, Lieutenant Colonel Jennifer Smith has been awarded the Exceptional Service Award. Gentlemen, thank you for your service this morning presenting the awards. We have two award recipients to recognize who are not with us today. Lieutenant Colonel David Miller is being recognized for his service to the greater St. Louis area and the Missouri Wing from 2006 to present in coordinating the efforts of volunteers in the placement of more than 70,000 wreaths, coordinated flyover events, including the B-2 bomber, and coordinated media coverage of the events as the Wreaths Across America coordinator for Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery. For his outstanding service during this prolonged period of time, Lieutenant Colonel Miller is the recipient of the Meritorious Service Award. And this one better be on the Zoom right now. Listen into this one. Cadet Colonel Reagan Hess participated in the COVID-19 support missions during the period of 21 March 2020 through 8 May 2020, providing assistance to the St. Louis County Emergency Management and their PPE supply warehouse. Cadet Colonel Hess took initiative from the start in county inventory, updating data and helping resolve issues while leading other cadet members. As the role of the warehouse grew, the operation changed. Cadet Colonel Hess worked alongside the county leaders to develop a plan for the warehouse inventory. For these actions, Cadet Colonel Hess is the recipient of the Meritorious Service Award. The Missouri Wing Command staff spent some time during the holidays reflecting on the awesome work of the wing in 2020. Before we adjourn this meeting, we would like to share some of the details. Key wing members planned, coordinated, and successfully implemented the COVID-19 remobilization plan. Missouri Wing has been at the forefront of data collection. The remobilization team worked directly with group and unit commanders to develop a more accurate, detailed view of what COVID-19 was doing in the state. Missouri Wing was the first wing to request the ability to move its subordinate units individually between phases instead of the entire wing. Key wing personnel were in communication with each group and unit commander to help the wing's understanding of the data to ensure that the relevant decisions were made as to the phase the unit was in. The Missouri Wing COVID remobilization plan to implement this change has become a model for other wings and has assisted other wings in adjusting how they move within the remobilization phases, thus helping ensure that CAP is doing all it can for its communities and membership. The Missouri Wing has been praised by national headquarters, as you heard today, staff for setting the standard for the individual squadron remobilization phases and for the amount of information the wing collects and shares with national headquarters and throughout the wing to its membership. Missouri Wing was the first CAP wing to host a virtual wing conference. It's debatable, sir. I know. We'll just differ on that one. With less than a week to prepare, Missouri Wing showed how software like Zoom and Facebook could be used to share events with all personnel with little preparation time or knowledge of the technology involved. The conference team shuffled all the plans, recorded key personnel briefings, set up virtual breakout sessions, and quickly learned how to maneuver between different software applications. All this work allowed for a live presentation from the region commander and a briefing from the wing commander to all members at the beginning of this difficult period of time. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, training and membership advancement was actively pursued in the wing. Missouri Wing personnel actively participated in numerous online training sessions. Senior members and cadets were involved in the planning and participation of online activities. The wing held Squadron Leadership School, Corporate Learning Course, Training Leaders Cadets, and various other emergency services, aerospace education, and cadet programs events. Missouri Wing additionally answered the call for North Central Region during the month of July 2020 by hosting the final North Central Region Staff College. Key personnel were involved in revising the normally week-long in-residence course into a guided hybrid style 25-day remotely conducted offering. Recorded classes had to be prepared for students to view, live presentations had to be scheduled, and seminar sessions had to be organized for the benefit of the 120 students from around the country. For some senior members, this Region Staff College was their last opportunity to attend the class for the professional development level completion. Across the wing, members answered the call to service. Throughout the state, 4 separate COVID-19 missions have operated to date, and over 40 members have participated, providing numerous hours of support. Members have contributed by transporting PPE, working in multiple county EOC warehouses, managing call centers, delivering groceries and meals in their communities, and more. In addition to the pandemic response, Missouri Wing continued serving in emergency services mission work to include participation in 3 ELT missions. Furthermore, Missouri Wing has had 4 senior members earn their Go Rob Wilson Awards: Jared Horn, Brian Maiden, Charline O'Neill, and Kevin Oliver. Additionally, we've had 4 cadets earn their General Carl A. Spots Awards: Reagan Hess, Justin Holt, Michael Johnson, and Timothy Richner. This was written before we got the last one this week. This concludes, at this time, this concludes the general session. Breakout sessions will begin at 1300. The annual awards presentation should take place at 19:30 hours this evening on the Missouri Wing Public Affairs YouTube channel. We appreciate those of you in attendance, both in person and with us virtually, for adapting to the approach with us as we continue our missions and meetings. It is because of all of you that we continue on with our missions and look forward to adapting and rebuilding the future Missouri Wing. Thank you for joining us.